What the fuck are the badges?
Today's co
Rip Dippler, you poor, poor soul. Bless your heart, Rip. I'm gonna be honest with you. You might not want to be here. You're about to enter something that you may not want to. You may not want to actually follow through all the way to the end. I'm giving you the warning now. We'll be starting soon here. One moment, guys. All right, welcome, welcome. Let's get this kicked off. Might I also add, new video, unrelated to Pirate Software, will be showing up. Yo, it's my mom. Everyone say hi to my mom. Yeah, what's up, mom? No, we will be, ladies and gentlemen, Sorry, not to Mudahar you guys. Hola. So at the end of this stream, towards the end, I've got this one pretty segmented today. I will be showing you guys something else unrelated to Pirate Software, and I will be making a video about it tomorrow. So if you guys are feeling a bit burnt out, number one, I can't because I have a special stream coming up, and I think you guys will be excited. But we'll be covering that at the end of stream. It's a new story, and I think you guys might actually, you might know what it's coming from. But he is finally done for the 12th time. So to get things started off today, Pirate had a stream, as he does. You know, he has those streams, and he gave me full permission to milk him. He did, and I finally figured, you know, I kept feeling this stigma about the milking allegations, and I figured I might as well embrace it. So if you guys end up sticking around, end up making it to the end of the week with me here, I've got a little special something. I can give you guys just a little teaser that I put through my Discord here. I'll see if we can show you guys. Coming soon. We'll just leave it at that. I need to wait for some things to make their way to my place, but we'll be having a very fun stream in about a week here. But that's it for that. I don't have more for that, but let's get into what happened today. So Pirate Software had a stream, and at the same time, earlier today, we got an absolute banger video dropped by the one, the only Coding Jesus. Now, I'm not going to like actually cover this video. I'm not going to actually go into it because I don't, again, know anything about coding. The best that I did was trying to work with him and trying to like digest it in real time with him. So this is, I reviewed Pirate Software's off-stream code. It's even worse. And so he goes into it and he actually works with someone who uses GameMaker and has for a couple of years, has made their own games, has some games under their belt, and goes over and dissects it in a very good detail. And a really cool thing about Coding Jesus and what he does in his video is he makes sure to focus on making sure that it's actually actually transformative and useful for people. So he uses the code that he doesn't think is up to par in Pirate Software's game, Heartbound, and he shows different ways to do it more efficiently or more clearly, things like that, which is really cool. Kudos to him. I think he's still live right now, I think, answering questions. So if you guys just want to hop over and chat with him, are more into the coding stuff, go ahead and take a look at him. But I highly recommend it. I don't want to do a watch party for it because I'm not going to have anything fucking useful to add to it. Sorry, my throat's drying up. But anyway, what did happen is that over the course of the stream today, Pirate Software had a few things to say about Coding Jesus, and I think that's a good place to start. So we had to, because he took his he took the VOD down, we had to go through, and luckily someone was able to save me the VOD, and I just took like the last hour and a half to go through and timestamp the points that we're going to be going over today, because there's a lot of them. Like, did you guys know that Heartbound could be run on a fridge? Sorry. Did you know that Heartbound, Pirate Software's game, could be run on a smart fridge? Yeah, that's real. And matter of fact, not only does he mention this 8 or 10 times during his stream, he also shows a video showing that fact, which is a bit interesting. And we're going to get into that because it's not actually potentially even showing that it's running on a fridge. And we're going to dissect that a bit. But to get started, let's first talk about Coding Jesus and his video and how Pirate chose to react to said video. Let's see here. What is a good starting point?
It's more people will be like, "Oh, coding."
I think we'll start down here. Now, can we do this? Yes, we can. Fantastic. Okay. So it's a bit funky because I got to do this through, I had to pull up DaVinci to do these benchmark or these bookmarks, but let me go ahead and get that started here. Where is my, oh, I'm looking like a boomer. I just want to run this in full screen right now. Hello? What the? We don't want to do that. No. Why am I tripping right now? How do I full screen DaVinci? I've done this like 8 times. Oh, here we go. Hold on. DaVinci. I'm gonna tweak out. It's P. Is it really just that? Thank you. No, not like that. I mean like, sorry, this is hard to explain. Yo, thank you for the $5. Feel like at a certain point you can't blame the farmer if the cow's still making milk. That's a great fucking point. Okay, let me go through here. Control F11. If this works, I'm gonna be super happy. It does not. Okay, hold on. I can just do this. Full screen. No. But There it is. I found it. It's in workspace. I'm dumb. Okay. Viewer mode. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. F11 does not just work. So we got a few things to go through here. I think we can remove effects or remove our media pool. Cut this inspector out. There we go. Okay. So we're going to be going through these. I'm going to find them and then I'll do this. So here's one of the first ones.
What do you think about Coding Jesus calling you out? I think he's striving to be relevant so he can sell you more $360 an hour training sessions.
Oh my gosh. Forgive me. We have to go back over here.
While bashing on an engine that I built a framework in 8 years ago.
He built it on a framework 8 years ago. Okay, so this is 2 good points. But we need to stay on track with what I've got planned. So we will address that second part because I think it's very interesting. There we go. Now I'm looking at the screen. So here's the first one. So, okay, it's about this guy. It's about Coding Jesus. He wants to sell his, what did he call it? What
do you think about Coding Jesus calling you out? I think he's striving to be relevant so he can sell you more $360 an hour training sessions.
Real King. Yeah. Training. Okay, cool. So we've got that one. Let's see this.
You're going to respond to the new Coding Jesus video? No, the dude's just trying to generate as much content out of me as possible because it's really popular. To do that. And the reason he's doing that is likely for financial reasons. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you and go pull up this for you. Dude that's trying every single day to put as much content out as possible for me because...
Every single day to put out as much content as possible? What am I, chopped liver? Yeah, so he shows this. Coding Jesus 60-minute consulting session, $350 US. Geez, that seems like a steep price to pay. Okay. So, okay, there we go. Next one.
Oh, yeah, no, Snowhawks, it's highly profitable is really what it's come down to now. At first it started because they didn't like my take on a political initiative, and now it's turned into how much money can I milk out of this? So, that's really where it's at this point. I just don't give a shit anymore. So, have fun.
Okay.
322 already? Yeah. No resets every day, yeah.
Oh, you're going to hear a number that he keeps calling out that's going to get bigger and bigger. That is the amount of bans that they are doing on people in his stream at that point. It actually gets over 1,000 for this day. But, okay, another one there. It's just for milking. You tell him, Coding Jesus bad, terrible, bad faith actor.
You respond to the code review already? Code review video? You have a person that is obsessively creating videos of all of my content on a framework that I wrote 8 years ago in a program that didn't have structs at the time. Why are they doing that? Because it makes good money. And they also give you a course for resume review for $350 an hour.
Oh. Told him again. All right. So he really thinks this is a marketing ploy of Coding Jesus to sell his package, right?
On top of that, you have a person that's just doing this because it's popular to do those types of call-out posts right now. It's really good views. Views equal money. Especially when you have things like a conflict of interest where you're sitting...
Oh, there it is. 560 bans at this point.
They're doing stuff like 60-minute consultations for $350 an hour.
Dude, yeah. 60-minute consult. Oh my gosh, he's so right.
So you can make money off of people trying to get jobs.
Oh, trying to get jobs. So the implication there, right, that Pirate is making is that Coding Jesus is doing these consultations to prey on people trying to land jobs. Okay, right. Cool. All right. Oh, thank you so much for $5. Senior dev interviewed many 5+ years script kiddies. I've read Pirate's code. His practice is not far off from these candidates that we rejected. Thank you so much for the $5 and the insight. That's awesome. Here's the next one.
It's more people will be like, oh, coding Jesus. Brah, brah. I already explained the whole thing. If you want it, someone probably clipped it. That's a lot of money to ask that question, though. You don't need to do that. But at the same time, man, I don't give a shit about this drama.
Dang, that's a lot of money, man. Anyway.
Next review drops in 50 minutes. Yeah, and I'm sure he's going to love the ad revenue from it. It's just a financial incentive to keep making those, dude.
Got it.
Yeah. Marksman doesn't have the final tier boots. That's going to be fixed.
Okay, so that's it. Okay, yep. Financial incentive.
He charges $350 to review what now? He charges $350 to review a resume for 1 hour.
Okay. $350 just to look over a resume. Okay.
And that is a public thing that he put up.
It's public, yeah. How ridiculous that's public, right?
For a dude calling himself Jesus, he's pretty good at casting the first stone. Let me tell you.
All right, this kind of goes hard. This admittedly, all right, you can give shit to Thor for anything. That off the dome, kind of a bar. True or not, kind of a bar. I think Coding Jesus can admit it as well. He kind of cooked there.
For a dude calling himself Jesus, he's pretty good at casting the first stone.
Damn! Oh! You tell him, man. We give him one. At the end of the day, Pirate deserves call-outs when he's got some good shit. Like he thought about that one for a while. He pulled that right off the notes app. Yeah. And then I think, okay, the last one that I have here, and I missed like the last 2 hours weren't saved here, but it's like one more time that he shows the smart fridge shit. And then we got this.
Thor might have some really bad code. Bro, that framework was written 8 years ago in GameMaker Studio 1.4 before Strux existed.
8 years ago. Okay.
He's reviewing a framework that's 8 years old on a game that still runs perfectly. Ugh.
Still runs perfectly, yeah.
It's literally just to farm you for ad revenue.
True. So Coding Jesus, since you're here, is it just to farm ad revenue? Matter of fact, if you're still streaming and you want to, you should call in. Because I do have one particular question that I want to address in regard to this 8-year-old coding or 8-year-old game, or like he coded this 8 years ago. My friend went to college to become a game dev. Thank you so much for the $10, by the way, Party Games. I learned back end development in the same time. He and I are making a game, 2 years so far, and we both laugh at how unoptimized and bad PS's code is. That's incredible. I'm eating dinner now, and then I have Chinese lessons. Damn. If you could really quick surmise, do you have a response to he created this 8 years ago where there weren't struts? I don't know what those are. I'm going to be, open about that. What was necessarily the response? Because I've got a few talking points that I was able to get from some people in my Discord that know more than me. But that's about as what I got. Jason may need his resume reviewed. Yeah. He might be able to afford the $350 an hour. I mean, with all the money he got from the Kickstarter and the streaming and stuff, I mean, he damn well might. Jesus doesn't run the other cheeks. He claps yours. Real. Casting the first stone. So these are all of those. And then okay, his lighting code has nothing to do with struts. His lighting code has to do with the lack of industry standard use of surfaces. Level 5 fish may be online. Let me ping him. Dude, that would be amazing. Quote is, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. So Jesus is the only one that can. That's so true. Hold on. Wait, so Jesus just essentially said to those people, let he who is without sin. He's just saying, only I get to do this. That's crazy. I never thought about that. What up, Quintheo? What's up, Private Parts? Still roll your own struts. Okay. So 8 years ago, he still has more than 6 months experience, allegedly. Not a good argument. Oh, 5 years ago is worse than a junior dev. Okay. So that's what we got to start with. And then I have these other colors here. But let's address that first, because I actually spoke with Coding Jesus and I got a bit of information with him that I'd like to share with you guys. So this $350 session, I wonder what that entails. Let's take a look, yeah? So Yeah. I think he really kind of pointed out. So I asked him, you know, if you could just quick bullet point, let's see if there's a reason to kind of push back on this this argument about the $350 an hour. Like, he's making it clearly sound like all of the stuff that he's been talking about has to do with and relates specifically to him making money off of these videos, which, keep in mind, he has a backlog of hundreds of videos just talking about coding, everything like that. But let's dive more into it. So this is what Coding Jesus shared with me when I asked him for his credentials on this. Yeah. Okay. Can I just hide that? I don't want to see that part. Okay, you know what I'm going to do instead? Let's go through this. I just don't want to like pull up the entire... And... It's also pretty funny. So let's go over it. I just screenshotted, so let me pull them up now. Alrighty. So start here. Okay. So this is Coding Jesus's response. Has 5 years as a C++ low level in proprietary quantitative trading. Number 2, he's been offering this specific thing for 3 to 3.5 years. The first 2, it was $150 an hour. And then I got overwhelmed and decided to purposefully make it expensive to prevent to prevent so many people from booking my time. Last 1.5 years, I lifted it. So he raised it then. Okay. So fun fact, I'm an acting coach. I did acting coaching for about 2 years, and then I haven't really done any recently. I started by charging $30 an hour. By the end of it, because I was working with more people, I had raised the price to $90 an hour because it came with my experience and the fact that I was able to help book people. That's why you raise your prices, because you gain expertise, you gain skills, you gain a resume to kind of, you know, proof of concept that I know what I'm doing and I'm helping people. So yeah, that's kind of the standard when you're offering a service like this. That's just kind of how it works. I am on the low end of acting coaching, by the way. $90 an hour is low end. But that's because I was working with people, like I'm not down in LA working, right? Let's move on. So he has his channel members get resume review priority. Oh, number 3 here. That I did for free, but prioritize members if there were any, and you need to pay at least $1.99 to be a member. So it's essentially $1.99 for half an hour, lol, essentially free. So he was doing this for his members on live streams regardless. And then here, number 4, I also do hundreds of free mock technical interviews live for anyone who wants to call in. And then he included 4, 8, 12, 16 of these specific types of calls. These live streams where he was doing what he is offering for free, working with those people. And then, I think it's right here, yeah. And then over here, number 5, I do bi-weekly calls with my patrons on Discord that I stream as well, and that's $15 a month for access. So I have a range of services at various price points. The more private and personalized it is, the more I charge. Oh, so maybe that makes sense. It's a one-on-one thing. When I was doing workshops where I was acting coaching for a group of like 20 people, my rate was lower because I was just working with a bunch of people. It wasn't intimate. I wasn't working solely with one individual and perfecting their stuff. That's a lot more rigorous. So yeah, that does make sense, doesn't it? I think like anyone that's done this kind of service stuff understands that. Oh, thank you for the 59 Nokia. Cold codes, what it works is refactoring, because granted, I don't see PS arguing. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know any of that. If Coding Jesus is here, he might be able to answer you, but thank you for the 59 Nokia. But then lastly here, this is super helpful. I built an entire platform to help people smash the technical interview for free called getcracked.io with over 300 free software engineering interview problems. 20% off with Pirate Software as the code. 1% per year of experience. 20% off with code Pirate Software. What a guy. So, little shameless plug at the end there. But But so I would say that kind of justifies a price point like that, especially when that's just how the market works. If you're getting a lot of people willing to pay this much and you need to lower that amount of people, you raise the price. It's just how it works, because then you end up making more money with less time that you spend because you have more specialty to give people. That's the market. 1% per year worked at Blizzard, 20 years. Yeah, I think he worked 50 years at Blizzard, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, his time's valuable. $5. Thank you so much, Sweaty Betty. Pirate explicitly called you out as a content farmer in his chat today. I know better. You're just trying to make him open his damn eyes. Keep going. Well, whoa, don't belittle that. I am a content farmer. That is what I'm doing for a living here. Like, absolutely. I like to go over it and analyze and make good points and try to keep it like objective to some degree, so that you guys can kind of decide if, you're in like whatever we're covering, you end up getting to pick. I like to give the unbiased. Definitely there's like, I fuck up, like I make mistakes. I'm going to have bias no matter what. I can say that all day. That's just a buzzword. But actually covering it and going into detail, like we're going to be talking about one that initially I was kind of like, this is fucked up. But after looking back on it, I honestly think that it's kind of a nothing burger. It has to do with the Ferret thing that had just recently happened. We'll get more into details, but that's my goal. I want to try to do that stuff instead of going like crazy. But a milker I am, and a milker I will be, and I'm okay with that. But so we have the Coding Jesus stuff. I think we cover that pretty well here. Now on top of that, let me go ahead and get this pulled down here. Oh, actually, we might actually be able to talk to, yes. Okay, fantastic. Let me get you added. Let me see if I can get this gentleman to hop on here, because I wanted to talk about that 8-year code thing and get a bit more of an understanding of it. Let me see here. If not, I can just ask him. Let's see if we can get some more information on this. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Let me go ahead and give a call.
Hey, man.
Hey, what is up? So thank you, number one, for hopping in, but also like fantastic work in the video with Coding Jesus. Admittedly, it's a bit over my head, but you guys went really in depth, specifically talking about that shader thing.
Yeah.
But the specific question that I wanted to ask you, so in regard to the response that Pirate has had, talking about essentially going over this, or I should say refuting the points. I don't want that. Okay, we'll just do this. Refuting the points that he was making by saying that essentially, that essentially it was 8 years old. The coding was done 8 years ago on a different part of the game maker, and that kind of disputes that. What is kind of the response to that?
Well, in my opinion, I think that even 8 years ago, I think there were much better alternatives to the system that he made, and there were a lot of better ways to do it.
And better in what way?
Well, mainly for performance. So his code is pretty abysmal for performance. And I will admit, I'm not actually sure where he uses it in his game. I'd love to know if anyone does, but yeah, if you were to use this system that he'd created, 8 years ago, in any significant way, I think in-game, if you used it like multiple times or across a larger scale, or a larger sized object, it would create like massive performance issues.
Okay.
And so the approach that I used, it was an alternative approach, and it's just one of many examples, I think, of a way that it could have been done better. And I'm fairly certain that even 8 years ago, it could have been done in largely the same way. And I think that I don't really think that point really holds true that Pirate Software has made, in my opinion.
Okay. So Coding Jesus, thank you again for the $5. Remember, he should have had 12 years of experience at that time. So I think it's, again, going for this angle of, this is somebody that should have been experienced enough to do it in a more optimized way. I would say the only counterpoint that I'm thinking of, and we're going to get into his argument about that it can run on a smart fridge, but outside of that,
Yeah.
from what I've understood, there haven't been a lot of call-ins or like issues that have presented due to his game having terrible bugs. I could be wrong on that, but from my understanding, if the game is able to run and bugs don't appear, like because it's this, 2D, pixel game, right? Like having worse code doesn't necessarily end up impacting like the end product for the users if they're able to consistently run it at 60 FPS, like he was pointing out.
Right.
So like outside of it just being like a good teaching moment, like Coding Jesus pointed out in his video and showed, examples and like how you also did that in his video, is there like any other reason that it would be, I guess like that's a dumb thing. Trying to figure out what I was going to ask.
You're gonna...
Regardless
I
if
get
he
what you're
does it,
saying, though.
okay, yeah.
I mean, yeah, well, obviously you can have like in-game design, you can have suboptimal systems like that. I mean, they can be bad for performance. You can have things that don't work perfectly that could be done better, sure. But in the end, I think if you keep, letting yourself kind of fall to that standard where you keep having these sort of really, in this case, pretty terrible sort of system, terrible for performance, terrible in use as well, not super universal. Regardless, if you have many of these cases, I think eventually it will catch up to you, and it's going to make things harder in the long run. And even if you don't, even if it's just sort of an isolated instance like this, I mean, it could be said that, yeah, sure, it's fine. It doesn't affect the end game. But I think still for someone who at the time, I don't remember how many years at this point he's claiming, but someone who claims to be very experienced in what he's doing, I don't think he should have written code like that. That's just what I think.
Okay. So more of like based off of his, the reputation that he tried to build up and the resume that he's pointed out with a couple of, years difference in different time frames. You would expect that it would have just been done in a much more optimized way, regardless of if he needed it to be.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing is, while a lot of people probably won't notice any sort of performance impact, I think you also have to account for when you're designing games, you have to keep in mind that some people are going to be running it on lower end hardware. And even if your poorly optimized code might run fine for you, there could be instances with people with lower end hardware specifically who might have performance impacts and see stutter and frame drops in game. And I think that does matter.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think those are really good points. That makes it way more understandable as to where kind of like it was being attacked at and what the refute was. Because I just personally I don't understand that, or like him bringing up struts, which apparently he wasn't even using, or like you wouldn't need to use. So cool. Thank you. Yeah.
The system that I made didn't use structs either. I'll just point that out.
Right. Yeah. And I think Coding Jesus pointed that out too. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to understand that more now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Okay. So, dude, huge shout out to Fishman. Sorry, let me level 5 fish. Thank you very much for calling in here. So let me go down here. Oh, shoot. Okay. Thank you so much for the $5, Bryce Campbell. If you've ever worked in the industry, you know that QA testers are typically not developers. Yeah. And I think we went over that Slop News Network, made a good point calling that out. 59 Nokia again. Thank you very much. Good question. And if it works, it works. The issue with PS is the way he sells himself. Everyone with a brain cell can see, technical. Yeah. So another cool thing. So here's my issue. Now, even not knowing, even myself not understanding the 8-year thing, the struts, understanding how to code it in a more optimized way, or if that even matters, my biggest issue stems from his defense that he used, I think 8 or 10 times, which was that it doesn't matter that the game, has these issues. It doesn't matter that it was coded improperly or that it could have been coded better. What matters is that Heartbound can run on a smart fridge. Now, not only did he say this, like I said, he said it nearly 10 times, and he also showed a video showcasing that. So first, let's start taking a look at every single fucking time that let's go over every single time that he is talking about the fact that it runs on a smart fridge. It's a lot. Okay, so there we go. Alrighty.
The thing that's really funny about that, Heartbound was made in GMS 1.4. Yeah, structs didn't exist in that version. I've never needed to update the framework because it still works in GMS 2. There's no reason to update it. Doing a refactor for the sake of getting more performance out of something that runs on a smart fridge is kind of stupid and masturbatory at that point, man.
Stupid. Oh, by the way, you're going to hear this man say that doing that with the coding is masturbatory at that point. He says masturbatory a lot. I think I get his point. It's just using very interesting dialogue for it. That's the first time I've heard it. But that's not the first. So the first time was here much earlier.
Yeah, if you're wondering why Heartbound is structured the way that it is, I made it in GMS 1.4, which back then I don't believe we had structs, and we did have enums, which is why enums are used for all of the character expressions. So you can find that throughout pretty much every one of the dialogue files since people have decompiled it now. But yeah, so me. And there's no reason for me to update it now because it runs on a smart fridge. If it stopped being relevant, stopped working on modern hardware, then I'd update it. But
great point. Runs on a smart fridge. Okay. Another one?
The thing that's really funny about that, Heartbound was made in GMS 1.4.
Oh wait, that was the same one. Oopsies. Here's another.
I sit down and write all the time. The framework hasn't changed
Sits down and
forever.
writes
And
all the time.
Heartbound runs on a smart fridge. So
Runs on a smart fridge. That's huge. Great. Glad that it does.
and I could update now to have structs, but the framework doesn't need it because it runs perfectly, literally maximum frame rate that I need on a smart fridge.
A smart fridge, right.
The thing that's even weirder about that is the framework that they were reviewing on that, I wrote 8 years ago in Game Maker Studio 1.4. Structs didn't exist then.
Oh.
So, like, why would I refactor that to add that later when it runs on a smart fridge?
It runs on a smart fridge. Why would he do any of these changes if it runs on a smart fridge? By the way, I was going to title this video Fridge, this live stream, but I figured I was going to be a bit esoteric.
You looking forward to the next code review on the code I wrote 8 years ago in a framework that didn't have structs at the time that I don't need to update because I'm literally just writing dialogue for it? You know, the one that runs on a smart fridge still?
Right. So why would he need to update it? Why would he need to make it better optimized if it runs on a smart fridge?
There's absolutely no reason for me to update that framework because it is efficient enough to run on a smart fridge at maximum capacity.
So there he says it directly. Hold on.
There's absolutely no reason for me to update that framework because it is efficient enough to run on a smart fridge at maximum capacity.
Because it runs on a smart fridge, your opinion is doo-doo better, and it sucks. It runs on a smart fridge, eat my balls. Okay, word. We're not done.
Heartbound runs at 20 FPS? No, it doesn't. The shit. Runs at 60 FPS on a freaking smart fridge.
Runs at 60 FPS on a freaking smart fridge, dude. I'm gonna start saying that. Oh, here's a good one.
Is he farming for ad revenue or does he have legitimate critique? He's critiquing 8-year-old code that was written in Game Maker Studio version 1.4 in a framework that doesn't need to be updated performance because it runs on a smart fridge.
Because it runs on a smart fridge, ladies and gentlemen. And just in case you didn't hear that the last, I don't know, bajillion times, here it is one more time.
You'd still shit today? It runs at 60 FPS on a smart fridge. It doesn't need to change. My man's over here masturbating over 1 MS. Like, literally runs on a smart fridge.
Literally runs on a smart fridge. Cool. So, runs on a smart fridge. Now, I've been holding something away from you guys here really quick. Oh, thank you so much for the 249 Nokia. Holy cow. Let me point out something. A lot of CJ's comments was about it should be self-documenting. None of these issues with PS is isolated issues. It's overarching domain knowledge. PS overall understanding is what's level 1 dev. So yeah, just level 1 stuff doesn't make sense, doesn't track. Also, thank you for the 249 years of Nordman. The code is shown in the review. The code shown in the review didn't use enums. Well, he must have though. He said it did. Fridgegate, 0% of the critique was about structs. Structs. I thought they were struts this entire time. Shows my intelligence here. So, this smart fridge claim. Well, does he have any Well, does he have any evidence to back up this claim that it runs on a smart fridge? He does. Matter of fact, he shows that evidence 1, 2, 3, 4 times on stream. I believe actually 5, but that was at the end of the stream. Let's go to the first example. Matter of fact, actually, let me just show you the video because we have a link to it that is unlisted. Let me pull that up first. Okay, well, here we go. Here's that video. Also, just really quick. So this is made by someone who listened to Thor saying, hey, if you make Heartbound work on a smart fridge, I'll send you a challenge coin. Do not send any hate to this person. They were kind of doing that. This is, you know, during that time. So again, please don't go after this dude.
Heartbound working on a smart fridge. I will send you a challenge coin. Game on.
It's a crazy good backing track, right? So he's taking a power bank, looks like a Raspberry Pi, and a laptop here. Yo. Incredible. And there we have it. So he gets it to run on a smart fridge. Or maybe not. Maybe this isn't running on a smart fridge. So far, from the people in my Discord that have been kind of looking over this video, and a lot of other people that have been looking over this video, oh, real quick, thank you for the $5, Zombie Bowtie. FYI, apparently Samsung smart fridges have a quad-core CPU, 2.5 gigabytes of RAM, and 8 gigabytes of storage. Plenty for a 2D game. That's awesome. Hell yeah. So it is possible Pirate Software sleeps in the buff in an oxygen tent because he believes it gives him... thank you for the $5. I don't know if we can confirm that. It doesn't look like 60 frames, does it? Thank you for the $10, Archmage. So his critique is irrelevant because it was made 8 years ago in 1.4, but he didn't change it because it runs on a smart fridge at maximum capacity. So he's reviewing the current framework. So yeah, so respect the grind, but you're milking it, bro. Welcome to the milking. Don't know why he didn't develop it in Unity. C# shouldn't require him to manage this as much. You guys, dude, go send this money to Coding Jesus. I don't got it. Thank you so much for the $5. But okay, so what is going on here? The leading assumption here is that this is using the smart fridge's screen it's just using the screen. It's like hooking up an Xbox to a tube TV. The tube TV is not running the game. It's just acting as a monitor, right? So that's the argument here, and that has to do with this setup with the Raspberry Pi, the laptop here, and the power bank, as shown here. So the assumption is that we're running off of is that, and that's okay. Like, I'm not gonna knock this guy for getting this set up on a smart fridge. That's incredibly impressive, something that I could never do. But also, there's this part at the beginning, they're pointing out, and this is another kind of a theory from the Discord. I think, actually, I might be able to pull up the message if someone can tag it. Ocular, he made a really good point that I wanted to address here. So here it is. So in this part specifically, he goes over and is downloading this APK. So APK, for those who don't know, that's the file that Androids run. You know, I used to crack a few Android games in my time, and it was just all APK files. By crack, I mean just download it illegally, allegedly. It's not true. But so that's how I recognize APK. But the theory for that is to allow the smart screen to be interactive, like on the smart fridge. The screen to be interactive on the smart fridge, you'd have to set up some sort of APK thing to allow the touch screen to work, like to get the inputs. I could be wrong. That is That is a theory. Again, none of this is confirmed. I actually reached out to the creator of this video to look for a comment, or actually had some people on my behalf and let them know it was coming from me, because I'm not trying to, trick the guy, but I just wanted to see if he could verify how he had done this. Because if we have that information, then we could just put this to bed once and for all. So kind of waiting to see if he'll respond. And again, if he does, and it ends up being, no, he did actually successfully run it off the smart fridge, I will make an update and talk about it. But as it stands, what we're running on is that this smart fridge is not running the game. It is just acting as a screen. So his argument that he doesn't need to improve it, doesn't need to optimize it, maybe he's right if he wasn't using the claim that it's running on a smart fridge, because everything is pointing to it's not running on it. It's just using it like a TV. It launched on a smart fridge. Check the FPS, lol. It launched, I mean, it looked like it launched. For all we know, it launched from the laptop, and the laptop had mirrored its screen to the smart fridge through the setup that he had. Another interesting point in regard to why we're saying that is because if we take a look when he uses the laptop here, when he's showing that, it's called Heartbridge. He sets it up like this. So it has to do with like setting up a hotspot. So it's called Heartbridge here. This is on the laptop that he's using. There we go. And then over here, when he gets over to the fridge, you can see here, and it's a little bit hard to see, but you can see that it's connecting to Heartbridge, which means that it would be connecting to that laptop, assumedly, just because they share the names. Again, this is hypothetical. We don't know this for sure. Now, with it connecting, that's what we're assuming is going on there. Now, it also says, verifying application integrity, checkration, founding. I can't parse through that. I know it shows some of it, calling Heartbridge. So it's calling Heartbridge, scanning for nearby wireless networks. Oh, wow, I can actually read this. Now, I could be wrong. Let's look at this. So scanning, so you can see here, it's hard to do that, but I'm going to try to read what I can see. It says, hello, verifying application integrity. Self-test result okay, network device okay, APK patch level okay, payload okay, okay. Initialize complete. Calling Heartbridge. Scanning for nearby wireless networks. Found refrigerator, Samsung Family Hub. So it's finding the fridge, this hotspot connection. So connecting to direct, corrected, target found, connecting. So going off of that, and again, I'm stupid when it comes to this stuff, it's trying to connect to the smart fridge. APK is a package format. I bet Game Maker can deploy to an APK in one click, so all you had to do is sign in so he can install it on his phone and cast it to the fridge. Except he did, I believe, use the laptop. But thank you so much for the 10E. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So that's what we're running with so far. Now, I think there was one other point to make. It's just that it was like continuing, like it wasn't being played. It just kind of ran that intro thing. Again, I think that's a bit maybe pedantic at that point, because like maybe he could have, but he was panicking. He was in a Lowe's running on a smart fridge, like connecting in. That's the type of shit that gets you tackled at a store. That's the stuff that gets you tackled at a Best Buy. So I don't blame him for not like playing the game. Sorry, I don't. Is it euros? I'm sorry. But okay, moving on. Right. So that kind of the irritating thing, and the reason that I'm bringing it up again is that he made this argument that multiple times, as you guys just saw, that it's irrelevant for him to optimize the code or anything if it runs on a smart fridge. He could have said anything else. It doesn't matter because I'm not getting bug reports about the things that you would see issues with how the game isn't optimized. He's not running into those issues, so why would it be a deal? And I agree with that. It's not a good precedent to set. It could screw him up in the long run, but that's more of like, making sure that you're, crossing your T's, dotting your I's. And I think that a good reason that Coding Jesus's video about it is really good and doesn't just focus on like the semantics of that is because he's offering ulterior solutions to help improve other developers that are making stuff. So again, could he have made the code better? Absolutely. For the sake of the game that he is putting out, I mean, maybe it does just need to be shitty code so that he could actually get it put out at some point, so that it doesn't pass the decade marker of being in development. So it doesn't pass 3 years of him working on the last 10% of Animus. Actually, I think it's 8%. Anyway, not the point, right? Alternative solution, my bad. So that's where I'm kind of like, I get it. Now onto my other piece of the docket. Here we go. So that was that big part. And we went over the coding Jesus. Doesn't make sense. You know, why are we calling that out? I guess I should also show you guys every single time that he does this. So just, you know, don't just take my word for it. Here is the first time that he goes through and shows the video. I wish I could just mute the, oh, here we go. This is him going through that yet again, showing the video. And then I think we can jump to this marker where he shows the video again. Here we go. Plays the video yet again. So that's 2. Count them 2. Moving on to the third time that he runs the video. Matter of fact, he usually does a very interesting intro for them.
You absolutely have to update this because it's so much more efficient. How much more efficient does it need?
Smart fridge. I will send you a challenge coin. Game on?
How much more efficient does it need to be? Shows the video for the third time. But that's not all. We got a fourth.
The lighting could definitely be improved to be more optimized. Let me explain to you why that doesn't matter.
Let him explain, guys.
Here, we're gonna watch a little video together.
I will send you.
Again, to explain why he doesn't need to optimize the game more.
Anyone against you is farming? No, bro. It literally runs on a smart fridge. Look.
And then he runs it again. He can't help it. He's got to show the people, guys, it runs on a smart fridge. So again, you know, I could be wrong about that. Like, again, I'm not a super coding expert. I'm interested to see if I'll get a response from this gentleman to, you know, confirm, deny, explain like his process. It'd be super useful. And if I'm wrong about it, I'm happy to be wrong about it. I'm cool with that. I'm clearly out of my depth and I'm okay with that. He is done. It's over. Guys, look, I'm such a cool hacker, man. There we go. Yes, okay. There we go. Okay. Yeah, all right, we covered that. And so, perfect. Also, if you guys are interested, if there are any mods here, go ahead and send in the Discord. If you guys want to chat more about this kind of stuff, we've got a coding section for you guys to chat. There's a leading idea here that we're going to help crowdfund a bunch of the developers that have come out of the woodwork and coders to make a yet another knockoff, another derivative of Undertale, except we're going to make a knockoff of Heartbound and finish it and put it out more quickly than Pirate is putting out Heartbound. So if you'd like to join that, take a look. Join that. Thank you, Frosty, for putting that in. But that's a bit silly. Let's get back to what we're actually showing today. So we went over those things. Now, the next thing that I want to show you guys is a bit of an older one, but I think it's useful to address because I think it is a bit kind of was overblown. It actually did get deleted. It was on the live stream veils and it ended up getting removed. And I think there's a good point for that. Let me see here. There we go. So this all stems from a video which we have actually covered in the channel before, where there was a commenter in Pirate Software's video that, or in Pirate Software's stream, that said that one of his ferrets died due to being out of mana. It's a very poor taste joke, and so I'm going to show you guys that clip here.
Yeah, that guy's a fucking piece of shit. I want to wait to see how long it takes Twitch to ban this person permanently.
Okay.
Give me a moment. Twitch, I'll let you know. It's just disgusting, hateful behavior, and it crosses a line. It crosses a line that I think is outrageous, to be honest with you. There's like very few things that I would say like cross a line, like go after me, be rude, I don't give a shit. What do they say? They said that Ghost died of So they're trying to mix the World of Warcraft drama shit and say that one of the ferrets that died at our rescue because she died of a very rare cancer died of being out of mana because they're a fucking awful human being.
Okay, died because they were out of mana.
It's disgusting. It's like actually disgusting. So yeah, they shouldn't be on this platform. And Twitch, you should clean that shit up. Like straight up.
Puts their name on screen. Okay, so let's start off first. Yeah. If you're, let's just be objective, right? Let's just be objective about this. Let us say that literally any of you, myself included, you're running a rescue for animals, and you interact with someone online that says like this thing died for some ridiculous cause, like it died from a cancer. That's pretty fucked. Like, you would be personally upset about that, especially if you had a vested interest in that animal, like with his ferrets. I don't think that is the most normal response. That is fucked up. That would hurt. Like, it just would, because you have a personal investment in that. That's not a crazy thing to dispute. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with me on that. Yeah, it's going to hurt you. And I think that Pirate had an emotional response here, as you would expect in this situation. But the reason that people weren't super stoked about this clip specifically, like, I don't think anyone was like, oh, that's bad. It's how he reacted to it. So he takes this, he spends, and keep in mind, he has a counter for people getting banned, which is them leaving some sort of, fucked message, and then it ends up getting banned, or, it's hitting the ban mod words or whatever. He hit over 1,000 today. Matter of fact, in this clip you're seeing at this part of the stream, 88 people had already been banned. So he's seeing tons of these, but he picks this one in particular, maybe because it hurt him more emotionally. And then he goes on, he makes this thing, he zooms in on their name, showing the post, pointing them out.
That is why we ban people in this chat.
That's why we ban people in this chat. That is not, I mean, yeah, he does that. He also bans them for asking when is the game coming out, if he's not responding to it, or hey, don't you think the game should have come out in his last 8 years, or literally just any kind of other criticism about him. Sometimes he leaves the criticism up and he addresses it and then makes a silly of them, but he bans for other reasons.
Actually disgusting human being. You're actually garbage.
I wanted to show this part too.
Disgusting. All right.
Any day.
It's probably a child. Probably.
It's probably a child. Probably. It is probably a child. So I don't know about you guys, but if I'm a grown-ass man, like in my 30s, and I can agree that the shitty thing that was just said to me came from a child, that is your cue to stop giving a fuck. Like, that's your cue, okay? Like, okay, it sucks. Okay, it's some kid. He is talking about, like, this is one of the most horrible people on the planet. Brother, we were alive during the 2010s, 2012 up to 2019, when the internet was just, like, the most horrid. Like, it's been brutal. This man is the same guy that's like, yeah, you can't really, offend me. I've been on 4chan. It's like, okay, dude. So for you to focus on this and then also clarify, yeah, you think it's a child and you're still going to go out of your way to make such a big fucking deal about this one message. It's like, okay. And he's like, this is why we ban people. And it feels yucky. And so nobody was a fan. It's like, okay, we could have related to you. We could have understood if it was just like, that's fucked up. And then he moved on, but he didn't. He chose to delve on this, and they fast forward through these parts. It's like 4 or 5 minutes of him freaking.
Little much because of a bad joke? It's not a bad joke. Like, they're doing that specifically because it's fucked up, dude. To mock the death of an animal, especially one that died in such a horrible way. Like, she got a super rare cancer, and she died within 2 weeks. And there wasn't anything we could do. It was awful, man. And to try and use that as a jab because you don't like someone on the internet, like, you're a fucking awful.
This dude was on 4chan. This dude was on 4chan, he says. That is like a truly... I got to imagine that doesn't even hit on like the craziest shit that he's been sent. This man's been sent death threats, tens of thousands a day, reportedly, from Pirate Software himself. So like, I get it, just, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe this is just me getting in the way of myself with like all of the, the stuff that I've been covering. It feels like he's trying to grandstand on it and just try to use this as an excuse to, again, just move past. Maybe not, because like he only is specifically talking about this person, but that is the issue that I had with it. And then the following day, there was a clip that went out about Pirate Software. This is how it was framed. Pirate Software, one day after Pirate Software banned a chatter for mocking the death of his ferret, Pirate Software states that he finds his partner mocking the deaths of racehorses funny. So, why are you saying beans? Thank you for the $2. So, you hear this, and that sounds pretty bad. But then let's take a look at what the actual clip is.
Oh my god.
Now, initially, admittedly, I was like, dude, this is crazy. And then I listened to it again, and not so much anymore.
Not only is she going to be streaming the horse game, she made her title Glue Factory Simulator. Oh, that's insane. Anyway, there's a shout out for Shay. Go follow her. That shit is hilarious, dude.
Named it Glue Factory. Okay, wow. Go give her a follow. Okay, like, so they're talking about this horse racing game. It's some, like, anime girl horse racing game that's kind of popular right now. I don't know the name of it. Does anybody know the name of it? I can show you guys on Steam. As long as it's not, like, lewd content. I haven't seen much about it, but I've seen, like, a single clip from Lakari, I think is his name. And he was, like, crying over his horse girl losing. What is it called? Oh, how the fuck am I supposed to read that? Una Moose. I'm going to say a slur in a different language. Uma. I need to get better glasses. What is it? Here we go. Uma Musume. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Let me pull this up. It's on Steam, I'm guessing. Let me see. Uma Pretty Derby. Is this the one that just came out? Yes. Okay, so this is the game. It's a bunch of horse girls racing. It's literally horse racing, but girls, and they also sing, I guess. So it's out of my realm, personally. I don't know too much about it, admittedly. But it's horse girl racing. So am I getting educated here, chat? Uma equals horse. Okay, thank you. So he's the person, I think it's his partner, was playing, and it was called Glue Factory. It's video game horse girls. I don't think that's comparative. Like that is very clearly a joke at the expense of not real race horse anime girls. I don't think that matters. And so I'm glad that the live stream fails took it down, because that kind of just does feel like you're chasing low-hanging fruit there. Maybe that shouldn't be something that I should be saying. But it was just kind of like I feel like you're comparing the two in a very dumb way. Like I don't think those match up. Girls are based on real ass horses. There's a difference between like these anime horse girls that are like inspired off of real horses, except these ones aren't horses, versus like saying the ferret that is actually in your rescue died from being out of mana. Like one that died from a rare cancer, as he said. Like, I think there's a pretty big gap there. I don't think that that's a crazy assumption or assessment to make. So I'm happy that they ended up removing it, because again, I feel like that was just kind of dumb, but I still wanted to address it. What we also have now, I kind of baited you guys earlier in the week. I'd put, because I was apologizing because I was making more pirate things. I put apology in the name of one of my VODs here. Well, we actually have Pirate Software making a comment on an apology video, and if he would make one. This is huge. Huge. You guys ready?
Put up a video saying you were wrong with every situation and the internet move on. I am not doing that. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, simply bend the knee and lie about how you feel, and everyone will stop bullying you. That's a great idea, dude. Yeah, no, eat shit. Put up a video saying you were wrong with every situation and the internet move on.
I mean, that would tank my career. If he did just say he was wrong and say my bad, well, it would dry up, and all we'd have is the thing that I'm telling you guys about at the end of this. That would put me out of a job. That would successfully end my milking career. But I also don't think that that's the right move either. Now, I don't think, maybe people would shut up because that kind of diffuses drama, and then he'll stop, kind of getting combated in every single stream because people will get bored. If he's just going to be a regular human being, people don't watch and make fun of regular human beings most of the time. They're going after people that are like lolcowing, like what he's doing right now. I think that it doesn't make sense for him to do just a full-out apology and apologize for everything, because that would also just be disingenuous. There's no way that that would be a genuine apology. Everyone would read through that. But maybe it would still diffuse things. But I also don't think that he should just say sorry about every single little thing that he's done, because that's not actually doing anything useful, in my opinion. Number one, obviously he would never do that. We've been over that. Dr. K has worked with the man, but to just quote unquote bend the knee, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like truly, and I think a lot of people here would agree with me. And I don't doubt this. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. I don't think most people, and I mean this, 95% of the people that have tuned into this drama, that have watched this, that are upset with Pirate Software and don't like the guy, they don't want this guy to circle the drain and just go into a corner and die. It would be incredible if he had a moment where he had a change of thought, where his ego reduced for whatever reason it was, and he was able to like just work on himself and not get so stuck on when he's wrong, not being able to admit, hey, I messed up, or even just for the sake of, you know, being friends with other people and their heat and just being like, hey, my bad. Even if it wasn't your bad, just to diffuse that situation. I think most people would be like, yeah, like you'd want to see this guy succeed. I loved Pirate Software. I loved watching his content. He inspired me to start YouTube, to like make better content, like truly. And so it sucks, you know, over this, that we've seen like his ego just kind of take over every aspect of how he interacts with things. But like, I think most people would be like, yeah, it would be nice if, you know, in some sort of sudden way, or just maybe even over time, that he reflects on this, like, yeah, that was fucked up. You know, I was being a dickhead. I was being a condescending prick, super egotistical, and I screwed up in some places. Like, he doesn't have to forfeit everything, but just to like grow as a human being. People love that. And I don't think that that's, I don't think most people just want him to keel over and fall away. I think most people would want him to grow and develop. I think that's just a general, people like that. Let me go ahead and send the Discord link here. What do you guys think? Here we go. Heartbound, huge. That's less entertaining though, true, but there's always gonna be a lolcow. There's always going to be. There's a good chance at one point in my career, if not already, I'm going to be a lolcow. I'm going to screw up in some way, and I'm going to have exposed videos made on me. Like, it's just, I am way too willing to be kind of point blank about how I feel about things, that it's going to bite me in the ass at some point, and I'm okay with that. But that's just like, everyone is going to have their lolcow arc. Not everyone gets to have that arc in front of hundreds and thousands and millions of people. But that's why I have a job. The redemption arc, yeah. If Quintheo falls, I will be the first slop tuber to cash in. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Let me see here. Why is it? I don't want you. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I want to go through what you guys are saying. I think it's too late. He's too deep in shit and would have to do something huge to believe that there's been a change. Agreed. Agreed. But I guess I'm not talking about the realistic, actual chance of it happening. Thank you so much for the $5, Sweaty Betty. Pirate taking a hiatus and coming back to say I'm going to try to be better is the only way for him to repair his social media status. Fair. Quintheo drama, it's over. You can't help someone who keeps denying everything. And again, like we're not going at this like it's like feasible in some way. I'm not going over the feasibility of it. I just mean that people would be happy with that. I think that's more often the case than not. I think that was the sentiment for a large chunk of even the OnlyFans stuff, but also the more recent stuff. It's like, hey, just admit you're wrong. We want you to just say sorry and move on ourselves. Like, people say that. Like, I don't think that's a crazy thing. If he reaches enlightenment, then it would be a crazy comeback. Yeah. Like, you live long enough to be the lolcow, yeah. TTS. The only real way to recover reputation, I don't really care about his well-being, to be honest. And also that, like, not to get too parasocial. I just think, like, you know, that's why, that's a bad comparison. You don't have to be parasocially invested in it. But I guess just, like, as a rule of thumb, when I'm seeing people struggle in life, it would be awesome to see them get better. Like, Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a bit more charitable than most, but I think people want that regardless of how feasible it is. People like him would never consider therapy. That is also an interesting point. Like when you have, I think it was like narcissism or like bipolar, or like a sense of mania. It's, from my understanding, just kind of looking at it face value, it's harder to actually get in and like do therapy and actually dedicate yourself to actually doing the therapy, because you have a hyperinflated sense of self. So why would you listen to someone else tell you how to live your life? I could be wrong about that. I'm not a psychologist. But the last thing, I guess, to conclude this stream, because I got to go and cut down the pirate software stuff for a video tonight, is we have something special for you guys. Now, some of you guys probably already know about this. I'd like to introduce to you, in regard to all this pirate software drama, we have something that is limited time. It's going to be ending this coming Friday here. You'll see something in the video here, but we have a little special something. This is Quintheo.shop. If someone wants to link that, mods in chat. I would like to introduce to you, we're going to be starting to do, and if I get into more of these milking moments, some limited time merch in regard to the dramas that we're covering. So what we have for you today is a shirt and hoodie. This is the front of it. It's not doubling down if you're right. You know, classic little Quintheo, but with a pirate hat. And then on the back, my favorite part. For those that will scream, he's doubling down. Yes, I damn well am. The SS double down. And with a little Quanker Nation flag down below. Just an absolutely beautiful thing. I'm trying to set up for a bit more like international markets to allow other people to. But this is what we have so far. This is the first time I've ever done something like this. And so also, I want to say that I'm taking 35% of whatever money that I make off of this, and that is going to, for those familiar with the Stop Killing Games initiative, I'm sending that to Ross. I think that he put a shit ton of time and effort into the Stop Killing Games initiative. We're at a point where it might actually start a conversation, but I don't want you guys to feel like I am using this just to get people to purchase. And so what I want to do here before we end stream, I'm going to go ahead and pin this. Ross here has a donation page that this is where I would be donating that money to. Go ahead and actually, I'm going to send it right here. So, oh, whoops. So that one, and then we have, I'll put the Quintheo shop down below it. But if you guys just want to donate to Ross directly, you don't need to go through me. You don't need to follow this thing. You can just go to his link here. There we go. Now I can pin that. And take a look at his website, because he also just makes great content outside of this, but I think the man has earned a few donations for the time and effort that he put into the Stop Killing Games initiative. And I'm not trying to rope him into any drama. That's not the point of it. I just chose to do that. I didn't check in with him. So I'm going to be sending that 35% to him once we get it done. It's all pre-order set. So at the end of the deadline here, which is this coming Friday, that's when all the orders will be fulfilled, and we'll send them out. So again, be sending that. If you guys just want to donate to Ross, I think he fucking deserves it with the work that he's put in. And then if you guys, one more time here for the Discord, if you guys want to chat after stream here, I'll chat for a couple minutes before I go down to go to my dungeon to edit. But that wraps it up. I'm super excited. We're also actually working on some more stick around merch, potentially some Drama Frog merch, potentially some milking stuff. But I'll leave you guys in the loop. That's just more of the side stuff. But you were here for the content. Thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you had a good time. But with that all being said, take care, guys. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. If you did, leave it a like, sub, whatever. And I'll chat with you guys later. Cool. I'll see you in Discord if you hop over. Hell yeah, enjoyed the stream. Good. Can you send one shirt to me in Brazil? I'm going to do some YouTube research and see if I can set it up. But yeah, adios. Take care. Get out of here. Go do something.